Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I would do a very long overdue mini review of my Mora Eldris. Now I've been using this for a little while and to be honest I'm really liking it. I still have a few little quirks to iron out. The fire steel that you can see on here, I've just got on the cord at the moment and it does kind of rattle about a bit. It's not quite so bad when it's in here like this, but it's just a bit of an irritation, so I need to have a think about what I'm going to do with that. But really the purpose of today was just to give you a very quick review of this knife. I'm going to do a little bit of cutting with it, I'll do a little bit of fire starting, just so you can get a bit of a feel for it. So what I'll do, I'm going to move the camera just a little bit closer in and we'll take a look. Right then guys, so here we have it. Now you've seen this before, this is my little Mora Eldris, and first impressions really, I'm really enjoying using this knife. I like the little sheath. I deliberately got this kind of pretty garish bright green, so that if I drop it or put it down somewhere it should be fairly easy to find. What I didn't realise came in the package was this little loop to keep it held in. And actually it works really well and I'm really liking this. Now the thing is, like with most Mora knives, the sheath, because it's a hard plastic, it's got like a little almost like a little knobble in there that keeps the blade held in quite well. And I mean I can shake this around as much as I like and that's not coming out, but just having the addition of this little strap, because it generally sits hanging like this underneath my jacket or whatever I'm wearing, it's just a nice little bonus. Obviously we've got the fire steel on here as well, and it's a nice little fire steel. It's fairly simple and basic, but it does the job. So moving on to the knife itself, and I'll give you a bit of a close-up of this. You know, this is a lovely little blade. It's definitely as sharp as the rest of the Mora line. You've got that slightly unusual blade grind on there, and it's been working really well. Handle, you've got like a rubberized outer section and a checkered sort of more hard plastic inner section, but it fits really nicely in the hand. You know, you've got a little bit of a choll under here, you've got a little thumb stop up here, and all in all, for a small knife that's meant for small tasks, I'm really liking it. Now you can get some really nice neck knives out there. There's a lot of makers in the UK and elsewhere who make some really top-notch quality versions of things like this. Now this is a sort of £30–35 knife, and I for one am perfectly happy to pay that price for something like this. You know, it comes razor sharp out of the box. I haven't had to sharpen this at all in the last sort of month or so, and it's been doing me really well. Now what I wanted to show you first of all, just a little bit of cutting with this. So I've got a little bit of offcut of wood here. Sorry about the planes going overhead guys, and really it was just to kind of show you that, you know, making something as simple as maybe a feather stick. Now this is a piece of seasoned birch I'm using here, which is just something I had lying around the workshop, but you know, this is cutting through like butter. There's no issues here whatsoever. I'm only cutting a very small piece of this. You know, I'd normally do something a bit bigger if I was after a feather stick, but you know, just to show you how well it cuts. And again, it's because it's a small blade, you don't get the you know, the full length of a larger blade to sort of run down the wood. Normally you'd start at the tip and sort of push downwards and forwards at the same time, but you know, this is having no problems at all. And if this was your only knife that you had while you were out, you know, there is no issue with making a feather stick with this whatsoever. What else have I been using? I've been using this for a bit of carving as well. So you know, it's generally, you know, the type of carving that I'm doing with this is being controlled by the back of my the thumb of my offhand, because it's quite a small blade. Now you can take kind of sweeping cuts with this if you need to, you know, no issue. You can see the shavings just flying off there, but really this comes into its own for sort of fine detail and control works. You know, if I'm making a spoon or doing a small carving or something, this is where I can kind of come in and get some really small shallow cuts, but with quite a lot of control, you know. And yeah, it's a really nice little knife to use. Now what I also wanted to show you with this, and if I just take this little bit of feather stick off the end here, come on, off you come. Oh, it's just fallen off. Right, so the other thing I wanted to show you this was the fire still. So first and foremost, here it is, and you can see those sparks just firing off nice and easily. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the camera around in just a second. I'm going to make another couple of quick feather sticks off of this, and then what I want to do is use the back of this spine just to scrape off some kind of powdery material off of here, and then use the supplied fire still to just start a very, very small flame. And really it's just to show you that, you know, with just this knife and the fire still that comes with it, it's perfectly feasible and easy to make a fire. Right then guys, so I've made a couple of very tiny little feather sticks over here. Can't really call them feather sticks, but they're perfectly good for my purposes. And what I want to start off by doing is taking the back of this knife, and on this particularly sort of sharp corner you can see here, is just start scraping down with it. Now what I've got just here, so I should mention, just a little sheet of steel. It's what I tend to do my fire lighting on when I'm doing it on this stump, just so I don't accidentally set fire to it. And what we're doing is just scraping off some really, really thin shavings. And it's much better to try and do this with the back of your knife rather than with the blade, because you'd have to sort of almost put the blade along it horizontally, which is just going to ruin your edge, and a sharp 90-degree spine is generally just much better for this kind of job. So that will probably do us. You know, obviously we're inside, dry condition, it's not windy, so that should be absolutely fine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the fire steel attached to this bit of string because I don't really need to take it off. And what I want to do is just spark this into a flame, get these little feather sticks over the top of it, and we should get a fire. Now without a handle this is a little bit fiddly, but you know, we should not have too much of a problem. He says not managing to light it. Let's see, let me just try and punch this together a bit. There we go. So we've got a flame started. We'll just get our feather sticks to catch that, add on the next one, and we now have certainly a big enough flame to start a fire if we've done our preparation previously. And you know, all in all it's taken a couple of minutes just with the Mora Eldris and the little fire steel that comes with it, and we've now got what would be, if we were out in the bush, an established fire. So there you go guys, just a few quick thoughts on my Mora Eldris. As I say, I'm really enjoying using this at the moment. It's a really nice little knife to do a little bit of carving with, little sort of camp tasks, even fire lighting, you know. And I deliberately wanted to show you kind of processing just a very small piece of wood from sort of nothing to feather sticks to some scrapings to getting those scrapings lit. I'm not a huge fan of this fire still. It certainly throws off some good sparks, but I do like to have kind of a little handle on the end of fire stills generally. Just makes it a little bit easier to hold, and then you can use the full length of the fire still and not sort of the top sort of 3/4 or bottom 3/4 as I've had to do here. But again, you know, if it's something that you're just carrying around in your pack, you know, and it's something you want to use just while you're out in the field, there's certainly no problem with it. I'll probably revert to one of my preferred fire stills, but you know, I think again that's just personal preference. So anyway guys, hope it was useful. Comments and questions in the box below. If anyone's thinking about getting one of these, highly recommend them. Again, if you're slightly being put off by the sort of higher cost, you know, they're basically about double what a normal Mora clipper would be. I would certainly still recommend them. You know, if you're after something that you're going to be using just as a single knife for all of your bushcraft needs, probably go with the clipper. If you're looking for it as a backup or an addition to a sort of a larger style bushcraft knife, I certainly don't think you can go wrong with one of these. So anyway guys, as I say, hope it was useful. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.